Y'all remember this music? I don't know. I might need some wine for this. Oh, no. Ah, I can't open my wine. Oh well, I have to wait for that. Shout out to Kenya Moore. The Real Housewives of Atlanta is coming back, and we get to see, after all this time of waiting, hoping, and praying for Kenya's fairy tale ending, her forever love, her man, her baby. Now we get to see it all fall apart just for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this, y'all. Y'all think Kenya was out here goofing the children? Y'all think Kenya was out here faking and fronting? Do y'all think Kenya was really even married? I don't know. I need to know. Was Kenya even married? I'm just trying to figure this out. You said you want the Kenya tea? Well, I mean, Kenya spilled her own tea. I just had to play my little song first. Kenya spilled her own tea when she did an interview recently for People magazine. Y'all know there have been so many rumors about Mark. So many rumors about, is Mark straight? Is Mark gay? Was Mark cheating on Kenya with a woman or a man? Did Mark have a whole nother family and kids? What had happened with Mark and Kenya? Why did they break up so quickly? I mean, they have a beautiful daughter. They were on the Tamron Hall show, and just days after being on the Tamron Hall show, all of a sudden, there's this big statement. I don't want to be with him no more. He don't want to be with me no more, and we out. Was kind of what it said, but not really. But Mark was like, I have decided that, not to leave. Pretty much, I've decided to divorce Kenya. I've decided to separate. And so I always speculated, and I know y'all was always mad at me for saying that it was Mark that left. And now Kenya basically told us that it was Mark that left. She said Mark opened up 2 new businesses and is opening up another. It was frustrating for me that he kept opening businesses in New York. In New York. But listen, I want him to succeed, and that's how he feeds his family. That's how he feeds his family. These are Kenya's words, not our family. That's how he feeds his family. Which means he got children. I heard he got 2 sons, and an ex-wife and all that. He already had that before they got married. Kenya knew that. So she says she couldn't be selfish about the situation because she already knew he had his family. But if you're living in 2 different places, you have to be together during the times you are in the same place. Either you're both in New York and you're both in Atlanta. And when we be in the same place, we weren't always in the same place. So with the businesses, the distances, the babies, it just became hard for us to figure it out. So when she says when we be in the same place, we weren't always in the same place. Y'all remember when I talked about when they was on the Tamron Hall show and Kenya was staying in the hotel and Mark was at his house? It's like, why is Kenya in the hotel and Mark is at home? Like, why would they do that? And y'all were like, the Tamron, they get him a hotel, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it makes no sense if they are a dual residency couple. Her house is his house and his house is her house. Why wouldn't she just go home? I'm just confused. So Kenya has been saying She also confirmed that the rumors that were out there about Marc having another child and all of that, Marc being married and the infidelity, she said those rumors were not true. In fact, her quote is, "None of that is true." I can tell you I've heard a lot of rumors about secret families. I can tell you that's completely made up. That's completely made up. There's zero truth to that. In terms of infidelity, I have no proof of that. That is not our issue. So I'm going by Kenya's words now. Y'all know I like to read between the lines. I love to read between the lines, okay? So Kenya goes on to say that the distance between the two was taking a toll on them. That's what she says. I kept telling you they have never lived together in the same house at the same time. Kenya says this herself. And she also says that the communication between the two had totally broken down. I think I had told y'all that as well, because I had heard that Marc was really nasty to Kenya. He had, in front of the camera, behind the camera, he had embarrassed her in front of the camera and called her an attention whore in front of her castmates. So we've seen it all, and now it's like Kenya is trying to low-key confirm everything that I've been telling y'all. I'm just saying. Kenya said, what did she say? She said, "We communicate in very different ways. I'm seen as tough on the show because I take up for myself, but in relationships at home, I am the opposite. I'm not a fighter. I don't want to fight at home. I want to be able to talk. I want to be able to rationally discuss things. And I get to the point where I'll withdraw if it seems too combative or not healthy." Does that mean that Marc was argumentative? Does that mean that Marc was combative? Does that mean they were in a toxic relationship? I don't know. But how could he be? He wasn't even there. They was arguing on the phone all the time about who's coming where. I'm just asking the questions. I'm just reading the post. These are Kenya Moore's words, not mine. She also says, if the communication were better and more open and honest, I think we could solve our problems. So she also, admits that counseling could be a big proponent in flushing out issues a couple may have. Then after a considerate amount of time and effort, you can make the decision whether you can come to a common ground or you can still work on the relationship or not. And I never had that opportunity, which means Marc was like, bye, I'm out. I don't want to work it out. I'm gone. She says, I never had that opportunity. Not we never had that opportunity. I never had that opportunity. She says, I'm not saying that opportunity may not exist in the future, but I just don't have a complete sense of if that's something that he's still willing to do. So if she was who walked away, this would be an issue. But again, I guess we will find all this out on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But I wanted to come through and just, talk about it, share a little bit, I don't know, say I told you so, perhaps. I don't know. They're all about the bread. I already told you that Marc got his taxes paid. He is straight. Marc is opening up new businesses. He has moved on. He does not owe anybody else. Look, where the other pictures at? Where is Kenya Moore and Marc getting married? There it is. Let's put this one up. Y'all remember this picture from straight from the A.com? I was like, let's get this bread. They was in on it together. They was like, oh, we gonna take over the world, season 11. Then Kenya got the oops. She wasn't asked back. And so now she is back, even though she's back with a lower salary. Kenya is all about the coins. Kenya gonna give y'all everything. Kenya gonna give y'all the breakup. Kenya gonna give y'all the arguments. Kenya's gonna give y'all everything. And it's carefully orchestrated by who? The producer, Kenya Moore. Where my wedding song at? Where is my wedding song? Because we've been waiting. We've been waiting on this. We have been waiting on this. Kenya got the baby and Marc is winning. Is that what's going on? We gonna pay homage to Kenya and Marc right now. This is the same. I want the other music. The happy life. Hold on. That's not it either. Hold on. What is going on? I want the happy life. This music is so cheesy. This music is so cheesy. Right, and the Oscar goes to. And the Oscar goes to. I'm just saying, you said you hate they're no longer together, but I wish her and her beautiful daughter the best. Her daughter is amazing. Her daughter is so cute and adorable. I'm just looking at it all. It's just easy to like pick it apart because we all said that, you know, we were speculating like what is going on with Kenya. What is going on with Kenya? Is this marriage really true? Like we never see Kenya with Mark. Mark is never in Atlanta. Vice versa. When he is, it's for a short period of time. Kenya is rarely in New York. When she is, it's for a very short period of time. They didn't seem like a long distance relationship. It just seems like an agreement. Like, okay, we partnered on this baby. We went half on a baby. And you know, now that we go half on a baby, we gonna go half the co-parent. And it's nothing wrong with that. Lots of women have sperm donors. But, you know, y'all gonna be mad at me. I've been calling Mark Kenya's sperm donor forever. But there's that. You said, yep, Kenya's about her coins and she's not caring who she steps on to get it. What you said, Anna Parker. What you said. You said, how you doing, Andy Cohen? Exactly. Where is Kenya's TV show? Was she back on the Housewives? She gotta take baby steps. You know, she was punished season 11. Y'all think she walked away from Bravo? No, Bravo walked away from her. Kenya is good for, you know, spinning her own narrative and making you think that she is the one to make all the decisions. But we see with this Mark situation, she is not. And that is why she is pissed off at Nene for even having a conversation with Mark. She's pissed at Mark for even having a conversation with Greg because she don't want anybody to know the true tea. She just does not want anyone to know, and it's gonna come out. Where is the marriage license? Did we ever find it? I told y'all we would never see a divorce document because we never saw a marriage license. Would they have a spiritual ceremony? Remember when Brandy had that spiritual ceremony and she pretended to be married to her daughter's father for years, and then it came out they were never married to begin with? Y'all remember that? I think it's gonna be something like that. I'm glad Kenya's back too. A little natural. I am so glad because now we have some people to drag. We have a lot of people to talk about.